Every second you wait, the odds tilt against you. Every day you delay building your safe zone, you're betting your life on luck. And in a world where supply chains collapse overnight, civil unrest erupts without warning, and natural disasters strike with unprecedented fury, luck is the first thing that runs out. If you're serious about survival, if you want to protect yourself and your family when chaos becomes reality, then subscribe right now, hit that like button, and commit to learning what most people refuse to face until it's too late. This isn't entertainment. This is your survival blueprint. Let's be brutally honest about something most people avoid thinking about. When disaster strikes, your home becomes either your fortress or your grave. There's no middle ground. You either prepared your safe zone before the emergency, or you're scrambling in panic when everyone else is doing the same thing, competing for the same dwindling resources, making the same desperate mistakes. The difference between survivors and casualties isn't luck or genetics, it's preparation. And building a proper safe zone isn't about stockpiling random supplies in your basement and hoping for the best. It's about creating a strategic layered defense system that addresses every critical vulnerability before the crisis hits. The first reality you need to accept is that your safe zone must be defendable. In 2021, during the Texas winter storm crisis, thousands of homes lost power for days. But the real danger wasn't just the cold, it was the breakdown of social order. Within 48 hours, reports of break-ins and looting increased dramatically in affected areas. People who thought they were safe inside their homes discovered that 4 walls and a locked door mean nothing when desperate people realize you have heat, food, or water they don't have. A safe zone isn't just about keeping the elements out. It's about keeping threats out while maintaining your ability to survive inside for extended periods. Start with your perimeter. Most homes have vulnerabilities that take criminals less than 60 seconds to exploit. Standard doors can be kicked in with 2 or 3 solid strikes. Ground floor windows are invitation points for anyone with a brick or crowbar. Your sliding glass door? Completely useless against someone who knows how to lift it off its track. Right now, before anything happens, you need to reinforce every entry point. Solid core doors aren't enough. You need door security bars or drop bars that can't be bypassed from the outside. Install heavy-duty deadbolts with strike plates that have 3-inch screws going into the wall studs, not just the door frame. For windows, security film is essential. It won't stop someone determined, but it slows them down long enough for you to respond. Ground floor windows should have bars or security shutters, and if that's not feasible, at least plant thorny bushes like barberry or rose bushes underneath them. Every second you can add to someone's attempt to breach your perimeter is a second that might save your life. But physical barriers are only part of the equation. You need early warning systems. A dog is one of the best security investments you can make. Not necessarily a trained attack dog, but any dog with good hearing and a protective instinct. Dogs detect threats before you do, and their barking alone deters most opportunistic intruders. If you can't have a dog, install motion sensor lights around your property and driveway alarms on all approaches to your home. During a crisis when street lights are out and chaos is widespread, motion lights serve dual purposes. They startle and expose anyone approaching, and they give you time to prepare your response. Driveway alarms are affordable, wireless, and give you advance warning when someone enters your property. Critical seconds that could make all the difference. Now let's talk about what most people get catastrophically wrong. They focus entirely on supplies and completely ignore sustainability. You can stockpile 6 months of food, but what happens when those 6 months end and the crisis is still ongoing? What's your plan when the water stops flowing from your taps and the cases of bottled water run dry? A true safe zone operates on the principle of sustainability, not just storage. You need renewable resources, not just finite supplies. Water is the most critical element, and it's where most preppers fail. The average person needs 1 gallon of water per day for drinking and basic hygiene, but that's a bare minimum survival calculation. In reality, if you're under stress, doing physical labor, or dealing with heat, you need more. A family of 4 needs 120 gallons per month just for basics. Bottled water expires, takes up enormous space, and runs out. What you actually need is a water collection and purification system. Rainwater catchment is the most practical solution for most people. A single inch of rain falling on 1,000 square feet of roof generates over 600 gallons of water. Install rain barrels or storage tanks connected to your downspouts. Make sure you have multiple filtration methods, ceramic filters like Berkey systems, portable filters like LifeStraw or Sawyer, and chemical purification tablets as backup. Boiling works but requires fuel, which is another finite resource. Your water strategy must assume the tap stops flowing and stays off for months. Food sustainability is equally critical. Canned goods and freeze-dried meals are excellent for immediate crisis response, but long-term survival requires food production capability. Even if you live in an apartment, you can grow food. Dwarf fruit trees in containers, vertical gardening systems, sprouting seeds, these aren't hippie hobbies, they're survival necessities. If you have a yard, every square foot should be evaluated for food production potential. Raised beds are better than ground planting because you control the soil quality and drainage. Focus on calorie-dense crops. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, winter squash. One potato plant can produce 10 pounds of food. 20 plants give you 200 pounds of carbohydrates. That's survival math. Learn to save seeds. Learn to preserve food through canning, dehydrating, and fermentation. When you can produce and preserve your own food, you've moved from temporary survival to long-term sustainability. Energy independence separates real safe zones from temporary shelters. When the grid goes down, and it will, whether from cyber attack, natural disaster, or infrastructure collapse, how long can you maintain your safe zone? Generators are useful for short-term outages, but fuel is finite and dangerous to store in large quantities. Solar power is the only realistic long-term energy solution for most people. You don't need a full off-grid system that costs $30,000. Start with a basic solar setup: portable panels, charge controller, deep cycle batteries, and an inverter. For $1,500 to $3,000, you can build a system that keeps critical devices running: medical equipment, radios, LED lights, phone charging. Add to it over time. The key is having power independence before you need it, because during a crisis, solar equipment sells out instantly and prices skyrocket. Temperature control is another survival factor people underestimate until they're freezing or overheating. In 2023, during the record-breaking heat waves across the Southwest, over 2,000 people died from heat-related causes, and most were indoors. Without air conditioning, heat becomes lethal. Your safe zone needs passive cooling strategies, reflective window covers, proper ventilation, evaporative cooling methods. For cold weather, insulation is everything. Seal air leaks around windows and doors. Insulate your attic if it's not already done. Most heat loss occurs through the roof. Have multiple heating sources that don't rely on electricity or natural gas. Wood stove, propane heaters with proper ventilation, even a kerosene heater as backup. Hypothermia can kill you in hours. Heat stroke can kill you faster. Temperature control isn't comfort, it's survival. Medical capability within your safe zone is non-negotiable. During extended crises, hospitals become overwhelmed, dangerous, or inaccessible. A 2022 study of emergency room capacity during disasters found that major facilities reach overflow status within 12 to 18 hours of a regional emergency. After that, your chances of receiving care drop dramatically. You need comprehensive medical supplies and knowledge. Start with Stop the Bleed training. Uncontrolled bleeding kills in minutes, and tourniquets and hemostatic gauze can save lives before professional help arrives. Learn CPR, wound care, infection management. Stock antibiotics if possible. Fish antibiotics are chemically identical to human antibiotics and available without prescription, though dosing requires research. Have supplies for chronic conditions. Diabetics need insulin storage solutions. Asthmatics need multiple inhalers. People on blood pressure medication need months of supply. Dental emergencies happen, and without access to dentists, you need temporary filling kits and pain management. The average person has zero medical training beyond calling 911. When 911 doesn't answer, what's your plan? Sanitation failure is how civilizations collapse. It's not dramatic, but it's deadly. When toilets stop flushing, waste accumulates, disease spreads, and people die from preventable illnesses. Your safe zone must have waste management systems. The simplest solution is a human-ure composting toilet system. Essentially a 5-gallon bucket with a toilet seat lid, lined with a bag, with sawdust or peat moss covering each use. It's not glamorous, but it works, doesn't require water, and properly composted human waste becomes safe soil amendment after a year. Have cleaning supplies, bleach, soap, hand sanitizer, disinfectants. Hygiene prevents disease. Disease kills. In disaster scenarios, more people die from dysentery and cholera than from the initial disaster itself. Clean water, proper waste disposal, and hand washing are the foundation of public health. And in your safe zone, you're responsible for all three. Communication and information gathering are survival multipliers most people ignore. When the crisis hits, you need to know what's happening beyond your immediate area. Is the situation regional or national? Are authorities responding, or have they abandoned your area? Where are the safe zones, if any? What threats are approaching? Without accurate information, you're making decisions in the dark. Have multiple communication methods: a weather radio with no AA alerts, a shortwave radio for international news, a ham radio if you're licensed. Keep physical maps of your area and surrounding regions. When GPS fails, can you navigate? Have a way to communicate with neighbors or family members if cell networks are down. Walkie-talkies, CB radios, even signal mirrors or whistles for line-of-sight communication. Information is power. Ignorance is death. Security planning extends beyond physical fortifications. You need operational security, the discipline of not advertising what you have. During the early days of the pandemic, people who posted photos of their stockpiles on social media became targets for theft. In a real collapse scenario, being known as the prepared person makes you a target. Keep your preparations private. Don't tell neighbors, co-workers, or extended family about your supplies unless they're part of your survival group. Practice the gray man principle. Blend in, don't stand out, don't attract attention. When everyone else is panicking and desperate, you want to appear as struggling and under-resourced as everyone else. The most dangerous threat isn't the disaster itself, it's desperate people who know you have what they need. Your safe zone needs defined rules and protocols everyone understands before the crisis. Who has authority to make decisions? What are the rules for resource rationing? How do you handle someone getting sick? What's the protocol if someone tries to breach your perimeter? These conversations are uncomfortable, but having them during the emergency, when emotions are high and fear is overwhelming, is when fatal mistakes happen. Document your plans, practice your protocols, run drills. Fire drills in schools save lives because when the alarm sounds, everyone knows exactly what to do. Your safe zone needs the same level of preparedness training. Let's address the psychological dimension that nobody talks about until it's too late. Isolation and stress will break people. Humans are social creatures. Extended periods in lockdown, especially with limited outside contact, create severe psychological stress. Depression, anxiety, conflict between family members, irrational decisions, these are all predictable outcomes of prolonged crisis situations. Your safe zone needs provisions for mental health. Entertainment and distraction matter. Books, board games, musical instruments, art supplies. Maintaining routines and structure prevents psychological deterioration. Physical exercise prevents both physical and mental decline. Create space and equipment for daily exercise. Have conflict resolution strategies. Recognize the warning signs of severe stress and depression. The strongest fortress is useless if the people inside it mentally break down. Think about the long game. Most preppers plan for 30 days, maybe 90 days. But what if the crisis extends beyond that? History shows us that major societal disruptions last much longer than people expect. The fall of the Roman Empire wasn't a single event. It was a centuries-long decline. Modern collapses happen faster, but the recovery period is still measured in years, not weeks. Your safe zone should be designed with multi-year sustainability in mind. That means skills become more valuable than supplies. Learn to repair equipment, preserve food, purify water, grow crops, provide basic medical care, maintain firearms, generate power. Skills can't be stolen, they don't expire, and they increase in value as resources become scarcer. Community is the final element that determines long-term survival. No single person or family can maintain a safe zone indefinitely alone. You need trusted allies with complementary skills. One person can't stand watch 24 hours. One person can't handle a serious medical emergency while also defending the perimeter. Identify people you trust absolutely. Emphasis on absolutely, because in a survival situation, one untrustworthy person can destroy everything. Build relationships now, share skills, create mutual support plans. When society fractures, the groups with strong internal bonds and clear organization survive. The lone wolves die. And if you want to go deeper, you'll find in the pinned comments some guides and documents that can take your preparedness to the next level. Check them out when you're ready. Here's what you need to understand. Building a safe zone isn't a weekend project you can finish and forget. It's an ongoing process of assessment, improvement, and adaptation. Every month you should be strengthening something, adding a capability, practicing a skill, or updating your plans based on new information or changing circumstances. The people who survive aren't the ones with the most supplies or the biggest bunkers. They're the ones who prepared systematically, thought critically about vulnerabilities, and took action before the crisis forced them to react. Right now, you have a choice. You can treat this information as interesting, but ultimately do nothing, gambling that when disaster comes, you'll figure it out in the moment. Or you can start today, taking one step after another, building your safe zone before chaos makes preparation impossible. The grid is fragile. Supply chains are stretched thin. Social cohesion is deteriorating. Climate disasters are intensifying. The signs are everywhere for those willing to see them. Don't wait for permission or validation from people who refuse to acknowledge reality. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. Start where you are, with what you have, and build from there. If this information just changed how you think about survival, if you're ready to stop hoping and start preparing, then prove it. Subscribe to this channel right now, because there's more critical knowledge coming that you need to see. Hit that like button so this reaches other people who are serious about surviving what's coming. Comment below with your biggest challenge in building your safe zone. Let's solve problems together. Share this with someone who needs to hear it before it's too late. This isn't fear. This is facing reality and taking control. From chaos to control, that's the choice. Make it now.